Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Daily Bread. We've got a lot to catch up on. A big show today, lots to talk about. Obviously, I have been gone for a few weeks. Honestly, I think it's been about a month now since I've done an episode. I have to go back and check. The last one I did was reminiscences of a crypto operator, which I did get a lot of good feedback on. A lot of you guys enjoyed that, so I'll do more of those. But we are back. It's been kind of an eventful few weeks. I did take a little vacation and I was off and anyway, so that's kind of why I've been out. But we're back and we'll be consistently uploading here again soon. In the time I was gone, we had a massive meme coin season, which I'll be honest with you, I kind of didn't partake in too much until the end. And that's kind of how I wanted to start the show today, was talking about the meme coin stuff a little bit and more of like a retrospective of how to think about crypto markets as it ever changes, because the market never gives you what you think is going to happen. And what I mean by that is, like me personally, I felt like the first quarter of the year, the first few months, I had a pretty good feel on the market. I felt pretty in tune. You know, I thought we were going to get to 30K Bitcoin and 2K ETH. I said that from the beginning of the year, and we got there. And so up until that point, I was feeling pretty good. But then after that, and obviously we've been just chopping around and it's been a pretty brutal market the last few weeks, I have not had a very good feel. And that's honestly part of the reason why I haven't been making episodes, besides just being away for a little bit, was that I was like, I don't really have a good feel on things, and I don't want to go on a show and say a bunch of stuff that I'm not confident in. I don't want to be like Jim Cramer, okay? I feel, I got to say, I kind of feel bad for Jim Cramer sometimes because, he has a lot of bad takes, obviously, and it's like fun to like make fun of him. But let me tell you, as someone who does like content myself, I only do this once a week when I'm doing it consistently. And even then, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know. Should I say this? Should I not? He's like on CNBC like every single day, and he does like his own hour-long show, and he pops on the other shows in the mornings and stuff. So the guy's probably doing like 2 hours of like talking about markets every day. Let me tell you, if I was doing that, I would have just as many like dumb takes probably, because it's just, you don't always have like some good take on the market. And that's the thing. That's kind of the problem with like financial media, is that you kind of feel the need to have like a strong take or say something like edgy or controversial or contrarian. But, obviously most of the time you're not going to be right if you're doing that a lot. You only, in markets, it's good to be contrarian occasionally, but for the most part, you don't actually always want to be contrarian. Sometimes you just want to ride the trend. Sometimes you just want to, ride with the market. And so it's hard to always like do content all the time. So anyways, enough about, that. Lay off my boy Jim Cramer is the point. Anyways, that's kind of why I've been off a little bit, because I haven't had a great feel. And, whenever you think you have a good feel in the market, it always throws a twist at you. And in this case, the twist was meme coins. Because now we can kind of sit retrospectively and look in hindsight at like the last month or so of meme coins and say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But if we kind of go back in time a little bit and look at what happened, I personally did not expect what happened, which is meme coins became the only thing that mattered in the market for like 3-4 weeks. And everything else, major alts, Alt L1s, everything, DeFi, on-chain, small caps, everything that was not a meme coin just had a slow bleed out. It's been bleeding to death, and you can look at all these charts. They've just been bleeding to death. It doesn't matter if it was the hottest cool coin from like a month ago or your average like whatever. Everything has looked the same. You look at Arbitrum chart, Optimism chart, Conflux chart. You look at look at like some of the hot DeFi stuff like the Grail chart. All that's everything. Ush, which is one we were talking about on the show. Everything is the same. Pendle, another hot coin from earlier in the year. Everything's just been bleeding straight down with no escape hatch. And so I didn't expect that to happen, right? Because normally how these things work is I expected us to get 30K BTC and 2K ETH. And past that, I said, I don't know. Maybe we could get higher, but that's like my main target. But I expected us to then chop and consolidate on Bitcoin and ETH and then have an alt season, right? And my miscalculation was that I didn't expect the alt season to be meme coin season, right? I thought it would be regular alt season. I thought it would be, we see the coins we know having their rallies, kind of like we did in January, right? January, we had like first few weeks was like a proper little alt season. And I thought we were going to have that again, like in April, May. And we didn't. We didn't have a regular alt season. We had a meme coin season, right? And that's the hard thing about markets, which is, because I've been doing my own reflecting of, like straight up, I'll be honest with you, I really didn't make any money the last month. I totally was not playing meme coins for the first few weeks. And then only in the last week did I finally like give in and say, okay, I guess because everything else was bleeding out and nothing else was happening in the rest of the market. I was like, all right, I can't just sit on the sidelines doing nothing. I got to do something. And so I started playing them. And I actually did hit a couple good trades on. The main one was obviously Pepe. I hit with size towards the end, and then Turbo. And so those were the only two that I hit, and I just hit those, and I honestly should have just walked away because I actually made good money, but then I kept pulling more and more meme coins and chopping myself up and just gave everything I made back, right? Many such cases. And so I just didn't really make any money for like the last month, which sucks as a trader. It's never a good feeling to go like a month without making any money, but sometimes that's part of the game and you just have to accept that. But there are a couple things from this that I kind of reassured and learned, which is one, it just shows how maximum PvP this market still is, because all of the attention was on meme coins. And because of that, everybody was literally selling everything else to go buy meme coins, right? And so if you weren't playing the one hot sector, the one hot trend, then you didn't make any money. And in fact, if you held the other things, you completely lost money. You got wrecked this last month. Which again, like in hindsight, you say, okay, well, you should have just dropped everything and just focused on meme coins for the last month. But, you don't really expect that to happen. And these things are always easier to see looking back. And that's just the feebleness of this market and the PvP-ness of this market, which is like, you really have to be constantly adapting. You can never, ever stay stagnant. And if you do stay stagnant, then you have to accept that you're going to have periods where you're not making any money. Because, in the last episode, the reminiscences of a crypto operator, I talked about how you should find your edge and you should find your little areas of specialty in trading. Because markets are big and there's lots of ways to make money in markets, and you don't have to make it in every way. And in fact, people who try to make money in every single way, they don't make any money at all, right? Because markets are so hyper competitive that you're not going to be able to make money in every single possible way. You're going to have to find your couple little niches and just master those. And frankly, I followed my own advice on the meme coins when it comes to this up until like the last week, because when the meme coin stuff started, I said, okay, well, listen, it's not my specialty. I don't play meme coins. It's not my game. My game is more, as you guys know, like, on-chain DeFi and like certain swing trades and all that stuff. But I don't really play meme coins that much. And so I was like, okay, I was fine. I was like, hey, happy for everyone making money on meme coins. I'm sticking to my thing. But then unfortunately, my miscalculation was that everything that wasn't meme coin has just been bleeding out. And you can just see that from the charts. And that was where it was like, okay, it got to the point after like 3 weeks where I'm like, do I just give in and start playing meme coins, or do I stick to my guns? And I gave in because I was like, well, this stuff isn't getting bid, so I'm not going to like keep trying it. I made money on a couple little trades here and there, but for the most part, wasn't really making much money. So then I did meme coins. But then, of course, by the time I capitulated to meme coins, that tended to be the end of the cycle. And I tweeted about it last. It was last Sunday. I was just like, I spent like 8 hours on a Sunday morning just playing meme coins. Okay, and I was like a solid. I think I was a solid 0 for 6 on Sunday morning, and I was like, I give up. I'm out. This is like, it was clear that this cycle was contracting and ending, because everything like a few days before, it was like anything would get to 10 mil market cap, and some of them would even get 20, 30. And then all of a sudden it was like things were struggling to get past 1 or 2 million market cap, and the PvP-ness was just getting really bad. And so I was a solid 0 for 6, and I said, I'm good. I'm not going to bleed any more money here. I'm moving on. And then the next Monday, everything dumped like 50%. So at least I gave up when I knew it was time to give up. But I didn't make any money, and that sucks. It's always a bummer when you go long periods of time not making money in markets. The lesson, though, for me is that this market is still just about survival. And if you're not making money, you need to make sure you're not losing money. And I know that sounds like super obvious and basic, but it's unbelievably easy when things aren't going your way to start forcing trades and start making bad decisions and trying to, I just need to hit one coin, I just need to do one thing and I'll make it all back. And it's like, once you start getting into that mindset, and it's so easy, especially like everybody has a bad few days, everybody has a bad week, whatever, but when you have like a month of not making money, that's when it like at least for me personally starts getting into my head a little. I'm like, damn, I haven't made any money in a month. I need to do something. I need to find, and then you start forcing trades and making mistakes, and you start dying by 1,000 cuts. When I'm playing these meme coins, and it's like I'm playing these small little launches, and I'm throwing $500 here, $1,000 here, and just getting chopped up, just losing, and trust me, when you're just throwing $1,000 at fucking 5-10 things, and they're all losing, you start getting chipped away very, very fast, right? You start taking L's very fast, and those numbers start adding up. And it's not fun to lose like that. But you either have to choose to do one of two things. You either have to be the guy who is, I'm always gonna just like, whenever some new trend comes, I'm gonna like try to always be first to it. Or you're going to have to say, these are my specialties and I play these things, and things outside of this, I'm not going to play, even if I'm tempted to, right? And so for me, I think I need to stick to my guns and my specialties, even if that means not making money for certain periods of time, because jumping on the meme coin wagon later was just not the right decision. And I'm sure a lot of you probably can relate in that. You see lots of people making money, and you're like, damn, all right, I give in. Like, you kind of give in at a certain point. That's what it is. And you just can't do that. You just can't do that. You have to be one thing or another. And part of it too, I think the reason why so many people are the types to like jump around to each trend is because there's a certain insecurity when you don't have like a system for making money trading. And in crypto, it's not always easy to have like a specific system and process, because this market is ever changing and adapting so fast. And there's constantly new metas that pop up. But it's good to have some semblance or some basic framework of a system for your trading and how you approach the market. And the problem with something like meme coins is like, there's no system to be had there. You're kind of just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? That's really what meme coins are. Either that or you have some type of insider information. That's most of meme coins. And so, that's not my game. And the thing is, what I realized is that I fell into the trap. I fell into the trap of trying to chase the thing that wasn't my specialty, and I shouldn't have done that, because I have an ability to make profit and do consistent trades that I know work over time, right? That doesn't mean they're going to work every single week, and maybe not even every single month, but I know that over the course of a year, I'm going to be able to make money with the way that I trade and the coins that I play, right? And so I just let the not making money for a month get to me, right? But my thing is about the insecurity is that I think a lot of people don't have a system and a method for consistently generating profit, right? And I think a lot of people for the first few months of the year weren't really making money. And then they were like, okay, well, now I'm going to make it all in meme coins. And some people it worked out for, and a lot of people it didn't. And the problem is that when you're always chasing the next thing and you're always like kind of scatterbrained and trying to hop on the next trend, you're never building like a system or a process for consistent results. So every now and then you may hit on something, right? You may get lucky, you may hit some coin and make some money, but then are you confident in yourself that you're going to be able to repeat that? Are you confident in yourself that you're going to be able to consistently make money over the course of a year? Probably not, right? And so that's why in my reflection, I'm like, I have my system to make money. I need to just be better about sticking with my strengths and ignoring my weaknesses, and if there's anything that this year so far, we're in May now, so we're in the 5th month of the year, has really shown me is that sticking to your strengths really works. Because when I look at my profits and loss from this year, pretty much I would say 80% roughly. I would have to look at my numbers, but I would say 80% roughly of the money I made was on-chain like small cap stuff that I'm like really like in the trenches on. I know like all I'm reading the docs of these things and following their Twitters and in their Discords and getting all this information, right, and playing them early. That's like most of the money I made this year. And then the other bit was just playing high time frame swing trades on certain coins with like very clear setups. That's basically where I made all my money. Everything else that I've tried, I either like round tripped or lost on. That includes meme coins, that includes certain NFTs, that includes basically anything that wasn't like my bread and butter. And so, again, it's just like hammering home like, hey, I have my strength. I need to focus on my strength. And if that means that, hey, there's a month where people are making tons of money on meme coins and I'm not, that's okay. That's okay. You're not going to make money in every market, and you just have to be okay with that. And that's, again, that gets back to the insecurity versus security in yourself, which is like, hey, you have a way of making money. And if and this is to people listening, like if you have a way of making money, don't feel like you always have to be making money in every single way. Just stick to your guns and have confidence in yourself. That's the main lesson from the last month for me, is I know what to do, and it's just very easy. And when you're on Twitter, and I like to banter, trust me, I'm like big shit poster, big banter guy on Twitter, obviously. So don't get me wrong, it's very easy to like think that everybody is making money and doing all this stuff. Like I'll give you a good example of like even myself where I really try not to LARP on Twitter, right? I'm anti like pretending to be things I'm not, but it's very easy to do it kind of by accident, I've noticed, because it's very natural where like when I'm winning and I'm hitting great trades and I'm doing all these things, I'm tweeting about it. I'm like, oh, look at this trade. Oh, look at it. You're excited. You want to share. You want to brag a little, right? There's a little ego there, of course. When you're losing, it doesn't feel as good to be like, oh, I took an L. And sometimes I will. I try to like be honest when I take L's on things. But sometimes you're bummed out and you don't want to like tweet about it. And that's me, where I try to make a conscious effort not to LARP. I think most people don't do that. In fact, probably are trying to LARP, especially bigger accounts. But the point is, social media, Twitter, it's like, it's similar to like, when people say like, oh, on Instagram, you see everyone's like luxury vacations. You don't see them like 4 months in the cubicle, right? And it's the same thing on Twitter. You see everyone's big P&L days and big winner days. You don't see all the times they lost money. When you see people hitting on a meme coin, you don't see the 100 people that lost money on that meme coin, right? So just always keep that in mind. It's very easy to let it get to your head when you're seeing all these people make money around you and you're like, oh, I'm not making money. I need to make money. Trading is all psychological, and we're little reptilian animal brains at the end of the day. So it's okay. Everything will be okay. Stick to your system, find what works for you, and churn out consistent profits. That's the lesson from the last month for me. Stick to your guns. Moving on. Speaking of memes, I had a couple little bangers in the last week on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter shit posting, well, let's talk about Elon. There is no meme. I love you. He posted the Milady meme that is famous. and the price of Milady skyrocketed. I literally saw it, the tweet come in live. Like I saw it within the first minute, and I happened to have Blur open because I was doing like Blur lending with Milady's. I didn't, unfortunately. I think I closed my loan the day before or 2 days before this happened, so that was unfortunate. But anyways, I'll get into the Blur loan in a second. Tell you my experience with that. But he tweeted this, so I happen to have the Blur page open, and the floor was 3.7 ETH for Milady, and it went to, I think, about 7.2 is where it topped out at in 5, maybe 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. I mean, I've never seen a floor move up that fast. It basically doubled in like 10 minutes. Now it's come back down to earth a bit. I think it's like 4.5 ETH or so, which is still good. But it's not the peak. Many such cases, and we see that with Dogecoin all the time. But very funny that happened. And anyways, as it relates to me, and by the way, just so everyone knows, I'm a day one Milady. Okay, just because I don't have the Milady profile picture, I've been Milady since day one. I was there during the cancellation. I bought Milady's for like 0.1 ETH like a year ago when nobody wanted them. Okay, so let's just be clear. Let's just set the record straight on who's an OG Milady. And I see a lot of new Milady's these days, and Remelios and all these new profile pictures. Let's not forget who was there from day one. All right, I got the receipts. Okay, but anyways, lots of people were joking that Milady is going to go through another cancellation after this Elon thing, and even Charlotte Fang, the Milady founder, posted like a screenshot from a CNBC reporter asking for an interview or something about Milady because Elon tweeted it. And so I decided to do a little shit posting, we do a little spreading misinformation, a little trolling on the internet. And so I went to the Tornado Cash OFAC page, which, if you guys recall, OFAC is the Office of Foreign Asset something. Basically, they are the people who track terrorist organizations and money launderers and all these things to make sure they're not moving money illegally. Basically, that's the job of OFAC. If you recall, last year, everyone who used Tornado Cash got put on that list, and so they have this list of all these wallet addresses. Well, I had a little fun. I went to that page, and I'll put it on the screen for those watching. I went inspect elemented and put Milady and Remelio on instead of Tornado Cash, and then I put on Twitter, I said breaking. I forget exactly what I said, but I said basically everyone who owns a Milady is going to get put on the OFAC blacklist, which, by the way, it's not even called blacklist. It's like it's the SDN, like the security designated whatever. I don't even know. It was some lame name, and I just named it blacklist. Okay, because we get there's a people don't appreciate the craft and the thought process that goes into making a banger post. Okay, I've been posting for years now. All right, I've been putting the work in. I've had many flops, many zero like tweets for years to get to this moment of really coming into my own as a poster. Okay, and anyways, there was some craft put into this. Okay, don't think these things happen by accident. Okay, these tweets don't happen by accident. There's some thought put into them. Well, anyways, this tweet pops off. It has hundreds of thousands of views. Tons of people were fooled by it. It's funny because most of the Miladies didn't fall for it. A few did, but most of the Miladies didn't fall for it. They knew it was a joke. But everyone who was not Milady fell for it, or a lot of people did. And it's funny because you get to see people's true colors, because I saw Bored Apes trashing, and I saw Bitcoin people trashing and saying good, I'm glad they're on the OFAC list and all this type of stuff. These are Bitcoiners. These are people who supposedly are anti-government, anti-establishment, anti-feds, pro-decentralization and all that. But then when it comes to other people's decentralization and other people's internet money, they are happy when you get placed on an OFAC. I mean, the OFAC list, this is a list for terrorists, okay? And they're celebrating that Miladies are put on this list, which is hilarious. It shows people's true colors. Anyways, posted that, and it popped off. And it popped off to the point where it even got picked up by like stupid crypto news outlets, and it was on like the TradingView news section, and I'll put that on the screen, which is hilarious. And by the way, it just goes to show the lack of due diligence and journalistic integrity that these supposed crypto journalists have, because no one reached out to me, no one did anything. They just literally put my tweet like in the article and said, like, I forget what it said. The headline was like nightmare scenario or something, Milady is getting put on the OFAC list, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. But anyways, it was a good time. We do a little shit posting, we do a little spreading misinformation on the internet for fun and profit. I didn't make any profit, just to be clear, just for fun, But it's very easy to spread misinformation, is what I've learned, and people are very gullible. If there's anything I learned in the last couple of days of shit posting and spreading fake news, is that very easy to fool people, and I'm like some nobody, okay? Could you imagine if you actually ran like a media organization, how easy it would be to like spread fake shit? So anyways, everything's a psyop is the summary. But let's move on. From that. That was a bit of fun for the week. But let's talk a bit about tokens and actual plays moving forward. So the market, honestly, it's been, besides meme coins, it's been terrible, as I said. And I don't think that we're really going to go up. I'm recording this Friday morning. Hopefully I'll get this out today. If not, tomorrow. We'll see. But market's not looking good. Bitcoin lost 27K. It's probably going to go to 25. We'll see if we hold there. ETH, we'll see if we hold like 1,600. That's kind of the levels I'm looking at. I know a lot of people are looking at those levels, but those are the clear ones. Yeah, I think we're going to chop and go down for a while. I think probably we're going to have a month of downwards / sideways. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of upwards movement. So that's kind of why I was talking about Milady and stuff, because, you know, like, there's not a whole lot to talk about. But as far as coins and things that I'm playing, there's kind of two main things that I'm playing. There's LSDFi stuff, which was hot for a minute and then kind of died off, but we made some money on that with USH and LBR, Libra. I think I talked about both of those on the show. But there's more stuff coming out. The thesis with the LSD stuff is pretty simple. So post-Shanghai, you have all of these people on the sidelines who are not staking their ETH now willing to stake their ETH because it's not locked in, right? And because of that, it's estimated, different people have different estimates, anywhere from like 50 to maybe 80+%, who knows, of the ETH supply will be staked over the next, call it, year, 18 months. And even if it's 50 or 80, it doesn't, I mean, it matters, but like the point is that there's probably going to be, call it, $100 billion maybe worth of ETH TVL that is going to be put into different protocols over the next like year or so. So obviously that's a ginormous, that's not a word, I mixed humongous and ginormous. That's a ginormous, that's a new word. That's a ginormous amount of ETH that is going to be put into new protocols. And obviously LSD protocols know this, and VCs know this. And so right now in VC land, the hot thing is all these LSDFi protocols. Everyone's trying to get in on this, and there's tons of funding rounds and tons of new projects popping up trying to capitalize on the LSDFi narrative / not even narrative. I mean, it's just the reality of like all this TVL that's up for grabs. And so my zero IQ thesis with this is very simple. Hey, all these VCs in protocols are going to have tons of incentives to capture ETH staking TVL. Well, okay, I'm going to stake ETH with them and get a bunch of free money in form of tokens and whatever rewards that they want to give me, right? That's like the very simple thing. And the plan is just to be early and have a good view of the LSDFi landscape as far as the projects that exist, and try to get in on them early and see if I can just reap lots of rewards with little downside risk, mostly through farming. And then ideally, like LBR was a good example, where there was a pre-sale, there was a big pre-sale dump, the token dumped below 20 cents. I started buying in like the 25 to like 35 cent area, and then the token went to like 65, 70 cents. right after the pre-sale dump, right? Plays like that, playing these pre-sale dumps, playing the like for example, Swell right now is a new LSDFi protocol that's launching, and right now you can. They're doing, it's called Voyage or whatever, where you can stake ETH with them before they launch and probably get an airdrop. I was one of the first stakers with them, and just finding all these protocols and just staking ETH with these different guys and just getting free money. Listen, if the VCs and protocols are going to fight for this TVL, and obviously they're going to have all these incentive programs to get you to put money with them, then I'm going to take the free money that they're going to give me. That's like my very simple thesis with this stuff. So I think that'll be one of the more easy, obvious plays for the next year that I think a lot of people are kind of fading because they're like, oh, LSDFi is just a fad. And it's like, yeah, I'm not saying that all of these protocols are going to be huge, but there's going to be easy money to be made with a lot of these, especially with the incentives that they're going to have. So that's the basic idea there. The protocols I'm watching right now, you still have USH. USH is down a good bit. USH has the advantage that they're the only like token in existence right now as far as the core staking protocols go. You also have LBR, which is an LSD backed stablecoin. And those are the only two tokens that exist for the LSDFi stuff for the most part right now. Obviously, besides you have like the Lidos and Rocket Pools. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like the new stuff. And then you have Swell, which is very likely doing a token. EtherFi, who said they're not doing a token, which I think is a big mistake, and I tweeted about this. A lot of people were disappointed who had their money with EtherFi. They said they're not doing a token. They may change their mind about that. We'll see. But as of now, they said they're not doing a token. And then you've got OBOL, OBOL coming out, which seems to be very like well done. I was reading through their stuff. I need to read more and research it, but it looks pretty good. I don't know if they're going to do a token. I would assume they are too. I believe Arthur Hayes, in his article that he wrote about the LSDFi stuff, he said they're invested in OBOL. So those are the ones on the radar right now, but there's a bunch coming out. So I'll keep you guys updated on that stuff. Join the, I got to give an update on the Discord actually. Unfortunately, man, this was a bummer. Obviously, as you guys know, I got partnered with Bybit like 2 months ago, and finally got like a paid sponsor for the show. And then within a month, they announced, we're doing KYC. And basically all Americans are going to be locked out of the platform. And so obviously now I am no longer able to use Bybit, and I'm locked out of the platform. And I know a lot of you are Americans based on my, I can see the demographics in my analytics. About half of you are Americans, roughly. So none of you are able to use Bybit either, unfortunately now. So that partnership kind of ended. And, the Discord, I was having people sign up with my Bybit link to get in the Discord, and now that's over. So I think what I'm going to do, I don't want to do a paid group or anything. I don't want to do that. I just wanted a free community. So what I'm going to do is make it so that if you want to join the Discord, and the Discord, I'm pretty active in there. That's where I post like day-to-day plays. You're going to have to contribute. So I was thinking about it. I was like, well, I would rather, if I'm just going to do it, I'd rather just have like a community where there's like good alpha and people are actually posting things in there. And some of you are posting good stuff. So you have to be active, basically, is going to be the requirement. So I haven't told the people in there, if you're listening and you're in the Discord, start being more active. I'm not going to like kick people out just yet, but probably over the next few weeks to a month, I'm going to be monitoring people's activity. And if you're just never talking in there, I'll probably remove you because I want to just keep it tight-knit and active. Since there's not really any other benefit there, I'm going to try to benefit from alpha instead of getting ref links or something. So now, if you're not American and you're international, then you can still just sign up with the ref link, and that's totally fine, and I would appreciate that. But if you're American, obviously that's not going to work. So you don't have to do that. You don't have to sign up with any link. You can join for free, but you have to contribute. Okay, so that's the only requirement. Kind of a bummer, man. Just getting rough. Can a guy catch a break, man? I get rugged on meme coins. I get rugged on my alt season that I thought was going to be alt season that ends up being meme season. I get rugged on my sponsor that, I thought was going to be sick. And then all of a sudden they're like banning Americans. Just, you just can't catch a break out here. Just can't catch a break out here. They don't want to see me win. They don't want to see Daily Breadors winning. So, anyways, that's a bummer. But we move on. We keep pushing. We never give up. The indomitable spirit of man cannot be defeated. Even though sometimes it feels like I'm being defeated. But we keep pushing. We keep pushing. Anyways, I don't know where I was at. I was talking about LSDFi. See, that's the plan with LSDFi. So yeah, if you want to be in the Discord, contribute. Shoot me a DM if you want to get in on Twitter. Shoot me a DM. Okay, so next up, I wanted to talk about the Blur loan. So I did a little Blur launched their lending platform. Well, I guess it's on the Blur platform. But they enabled what is essentially like leveraged NFTs. You can buy NFTs on margin. So I did a little experiment on the first day. I actually didn't realize a few things the first time I did it. But I bought one Milady, basically. I guess you could call it borrowed or whatever. I bought one Milady on margin. The floor of Milady was 3.6, I think, or 3.62. And I paid 0.42 ETH, right? Down. And so I owed 3.2 ETH plus daily interest. In my case, the interest was pretty low. It was like 0.03% a day or something pretty minimal. So I owed a small amount of interest each day and the 3.2 ETH principal back. Well, a week, 5 days or so went by, and Milady was like 3.92, and so I closed it out. And so I basically locked in, or it was a little higher. Basically, I think I locked in like a 0.33 profit on the 0.42 investment. So that was like a 78% return, I think was what it came out to after interest, which is pretty cool because basically Milady moved 10% up and I got almost an 80% gain. So you could look at it like an 8x leverage on NFTs using margin. The drawbacks is you have to pay gas for each transaction, which is kind of annoying. So that, obviously when gas is super high, eats into your profit. And the lending market isn't super efficient. So you can only do like a few at a time, most. Like I think I wouldn't let me do more than 4 at once. So if you were trying to do like size and scale this up, it's not super easy. Because where I see something like this being valuable is more for people who are trying to make like more sized bets. But I could only go up to like 2 ETH or something trying to borrow when I was trying to do it with like, it was only letting me borrow like 4 of them at a time. You couldn't do like 10 or 20 if you wanted to do that. So the scalability is a bit limited now, but I think that may improve. And then just the overall market itself, like some people charge like 3% daily interest, which is ridiculous. And other people charge like 0.03. And you kind of have to sit there on Blur, just waiting for someone to put up a new one for loan and just be the first to grab it, which I'm sure is going to get dominated by bots. So I'd like there to be like a better system for if you're trying to do this, like a little more efficient, I guess is the point. But overall, it was pretty cool. Hey, made a little bit of money trading that. But yeah, it's cool. Now you can lever up your NFTs basically on Blur. So I'll try it again with some more NFTs. Obviously, it's risky. In this case, it worked out for me. But at the same time, you're 8x leveraged on an NFT in my case. And it was like, okay, well, if it goes down a little bit, then you'll just lose all your money basically. And if the NFT goes down to the point where, like, say it went from 3.6 where I got it down to like 2.5 ETH or something, right? Well, at that point, I would basically just not pay back the loan, right? I would just, because at that point, I'd have to pay 3.6 for the whole thing still, or I could just lose my down payment, which is the 0.42 that I paid. At that point, it would just make more sense to let the 0.42 go and just let it and just take the L instead of trying to buy the whole thing, right? So that's like the downside is obviously it's similar to like options, right? Where you pay your premium and your risk is that you could just lose your entire premium, right? Versus other things where you could only lose partial if it goes out of the money. So that was my little experiment with Blur lending. That was pretty fun. And then the other thing I was watching, the other protocol that I like a lot before we wrap up, is GND. This protocol is a bit of a monster, and it had a pullback today with the whole market. So it's providing some entries here. GND, the summary for this one, I really like this project. I think it's going to go up a lot. But basically, I have my notes here. Let me read this. It's a bit much, but essentially it's kind of like Grail, but with also their own stablecoin. And the stablecoin is GMUSD. That's their stablecoin. And the way you mint this stablecoin is you can deposit either GDAI, which is Gains Trading that perpdex their stable, or you can deposit GMD USD, and GMD USD is the other protocol. GND before this made GMD. I know it's all like sounds very similar, but anyways, GMD was basically a stablecoin that utilized GMX's GLP pools. And so anyways, GMD USD and GDAI are both interest-bearing stablecoins. So you can take these stablecoins and deposit them and get GMUSD back. So basically, the stablecoin for GND is like 15 to 25% interest-bearing just for holding the stablecoin, right? So that's like the incentive that they're putting for people to mint the stablecoin. On top of that, they have farms that you can use the stablecoin for, and other things for too. And these farms are generating lots of yield right now. And they have, similar to xGrail, they have XGND, which is staked locked GND. And you can get rewards from that. So the thing that's unique about them, and why I say it's like a monster, is that this thing is 2 weeks old, and it did 100,000 revenue in its first week, and it's done 200,000 revenue in its second week. And what they're doing with the revenue is half of it is going to dividends that just pays the stakers. So 100K got paid out to stakers this week, and the other 100K goes to buy back and burn GND tokens. Because one of the biggest problems with protocols like Grail is, while yeah, they're kind of money printers for stakers, at a certain point they become like hyperinflationary, and so it's just basically ends up being another farm token at a certain point. Well, GND is trying to stop this by doing deflationary mechanisms with their buyback and burn with a significant amount of revenue. At the current rate, if they're able to sustain $200,000 a week of revenue. It's only 2 weeks old, so let's see if they're able to sustain this. But at $200,000 a week of revenue, this thing should easily be worth, if you're comparing it to other similar projects like a Grail, like maybe even $3,000 a token, honestly, in my opinion. That's like what the value should be. And it went up as high as like 500, but now it's back down with everything dumping, and like it went down like actually into the 300s. I think it's settled into 400s right now. But this is one where I'm going to be building a position. I had a position and I sold it because I knew the market was going to dump, but I'm going to get back into it and probably build a position because it's just a monster the way it's going right now. I mean, $200,000 a week in revenue is nothing to scoff at. And the fact that all is going back to the token holders in forms of dividends and buybacks creates this really good flywheel. So if they're able to keep that flywheel going over time, where they have tons of incentives to mint this stablecoin, tons of incentives in the farm, but then the token isn't getting super diluted with infinite emissions and it's actually deflationary, then this thing can actually have a lot of token value accrual. And I think that $2,000 or more is like a pretty good target, and it's only trading in the 400s right now. So that's my summary on GND. It's a little complicated, but all you need to know is they've built a very good flywheel. So I'm going to be watching their performance over the next couple of weeks to see if they're able to sustain the revenue levels that they have. But if they are, I will continue to grow this bag, because I think they will be. Basically, they're like a $6 million market cap right now, roughly. And I think that, if you're doing $200,000 a week in revenue, and most of that's just going back to token holders, I think, that would be right. That would be $10 million a year. I think it's fair to say that you should be valued at double that, which would be like 20 mil market cap maybe. I mean, it kind of varies. 20, 30 mil would be like an area that I think would be fair value. So that's my thoughts on GND. That's the other one I'm watching. So LSDFi and GND are like the things that I like right now. Everything else will have its time, but I think the market's going to continue to kind of bleed out and chop for a bit. So we'll talk more about other coins next week if there's anything else that comes on my radar, but that's my main focus right now. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. We are back. We will be more consistent going forward after this little hiatus. Missed you guys. Thank you so much to everyone who has been supportive and asking for the new episodes. I will see you next week. Peace.